We also know there's this umbrella of anxiety disorders. There's a lot that falls under it, and we're not going to dive too deep into these, but I think it's important to recognize what some of these disorders are. So with obsessive-compulsive disorder, or what you hear as OCD, which is that uncontrolled, reoccurring thoughts and behaviors that is urged to repeat over and over. A lot of times in this, your alarm is being fed this false data, so you're doing these habits over and over again. And you see this kind of, the typical thing is with hand washing, or you'll see it with light switches, or those kinds of things that people repeat it over and over again. 2, selective mutism. That's that inability to speak and communicate effectively in select social settings. So what's unique about this is the kid may be really chatty at home, but when they're in public places, they will not speak. They're mute in those times and in those settings. With 3, with specific anxieties, these are what we think of as phobias. Those are that excessive and irrational fear of specific objects, activities, or situations. So we can see this with airplanes or snakes or spiders, or certain objects or things bring that irrational fear up. What we hear a lot about, though, is that generalized anxiety disorder. And that is that chronic, exaggerated worrying about everyday life. This is that feeling of I can't turn my brain off because I'm always worrying. My brain is on a hamster wheel constantly. Separation anxiety, that's that excessive fear or worrying about separation from home or an attachment figure, which in a lot of instances could be a parent. Social anxiety, that's another one we hear of a lot, and that where we have that fear of social situations that involve interaction with other people. A lot of times we're worried about the fear of rejection or being judged by others as well. Panic disorders, we hear this one a lot as well, that these are attacks that we have that bring on sudden feelings of terror that strike repeatedly, and a lot of times it's without warning. And with this, it's a very intense feeling of panic, and it's very focused in the body. Sometimes it can even be mistaken for the same symptoms of what heart attacks symptoms look like. And then agoraphobia, that's that fear and avoidance of places that make you feel trapped or helpless. So a lot of times people will try to stay in places that they feel safe. They'll avoid crowds, elevators, those kind of enclosed areas. So we're not going into great detail in any of these, but I think it can be helpful just to recognize what falls under that umbrella of anxiety disorders.